What a really great question. I love it. It's asking what are the ethics of and how do plastic surgeons feel about surgery being funded by a sugar daddy when there is a sugar daddy baby relationship going on? Okay, I think these relationships, I mean, like any relationship, these can take lots and lots of different forms and we'll always individually assess. But I've identified two groups of this sort of sugar daddy baby relationship. And I think I feel about them a little bit differently. The first is where there is usually a much older man, much younger woman, and the man is funding the woman, but they do have a relationship. They may not be exclusive, but they have a sort of one-on-one relationship for reasons other than the surgery. And I have an example in my head of someone who came in and consulted with me, and it was a much older, frail man who, when it came to paying for his consultation, it was clear that he was ennobled, had a title, was somewhat wealthy, and this was a very young Eastern European woman, very attractive, and had obviously had a number of cosmetic procedures in the past, and indeed was looking for revision breast surgery. And in that situation, you sort of think, well, where is the balance of power? She wanted the surgery. It was clear that she wanted the surgery. She was very clear about that. It was she who wanted it, and he was paying for it. And where is the balance of power? There's obviously disparity in the different domains of power sharing. So he had the money, she did not. She had the looks and physical vigor, he did not. And although they're disparate in those domains, overall there's a kind of parity of power. They're both going into that relationship. They're both adults. They're both happy. They're both upfront. They both know what's going on. And it's in that context, hey, who am I to say? And actually, if we start getting to try to police where the money is coming from, where do we stop? I mean, lots of households will have the money leaving the household from the account of one or the other partner. Not everyone has a joint account. In fact, we don't have a joint account. It sort of works differently. So it's who's to say? And then, where do we stop? Do we start to investigate how the money was derived? Was it ethical? Are they investing in smoking when we're anti-tobacco or whatever? Where does it stop? So that kind of relationship, as long as the patient is healthy, has good expectations, has reasonable expectations for surgery, wants the surgery themselves without coercion, I'm happy with that. Now then there's the second arrangement, and I've come across, I haven't seen this personally, but I'm aware of sugar daddy arrangements in which babies almost crowdsource for funding for surgery. So there are websites and they put up their pre-op photos, they say what they'd like to have done, and I want a breast augmentation or whatever, and someone puts in £30 and someone puts in £50 and someone puts in 100 and whatever, and on the proviso that they then post their after photos afterwards, or there may be some other arrangement. Now, my problem with that is what I call external attribution. And what I mean by that is where the outcome of your surgery is judged by people other than yourself, this is the way to disaster. And it's not normally as obvious as that. It can be a guy comes in, I would like a facelift so that I look younger, so that I don't get passed over for promotion. And then, if they are passed over for promotion, they blame it on the facelift, not on whatever else is going on around them. I don't want some unknown boss somewhere being able to, by surrogate, by proxy, make the decision as to whether the facelift was successful or not. Other example that I've known about. I would like a breast augmentation so my husband doesn't leave me. Well, if your husband then goes and leaves you, it doesn't mean the breast augmentation was not a success. So if the success is determined by a third party rather than by the patient themselves, then I'm not going to go there. If I get a hint of that, then I will decline that surgery. And this baby sugar daddy arrangement is an extreme example of that, in which essentially there can be 50 shareholders to the outcome of your surgery. And so if afterwards you post your photos and you get disapprovals, dislikes, adverse comments, whatever, by this huge pool of people, then that patient may be dissatisfied with the outcome of their otherwise perfectly reasonable surgery. So for me, that would be a real red flag. Now, whether I would be aware of that arrangement is another matter. I probably wouldn't be. Why would they tell me this? And I don't go on these sites, so I wouldn't see for myself. Yeah, that's how I feel about it, and those are my thoughts on the ethics of this. Tell me what you think. All right, bye bye now.